Good morning and War Eagle War Report family. Your man Ike Jones right here on the morning drop. It is Friday, January 6th. More offensive linemen coming down to the plains, man. Let's get in here and talk about it today. Let's drop it on them.
You are now listening to the War Report.
The morning drop right here on the War Report. We appreciate everybody for coming in here with us. Your man Ike Jones once again dropping in with a little more information. You guys already know by now, Gunnar Britton is transferring from Western Kentucky to Auburn University, or as a lot of recruits like to say, the University of Auburn. But Auburn University picks up another offensive lineman, adding to the depth and adding to some guys who actually have some experience starting. The competition is going to be fierce this spring. I am looking forward to seeing who emerges as the cream of the crop. To a new look offensive line. Look, regardless of whether or not it's guys that were already here, guys that are transferring in, freshmen, we are going to have a new look offensive line for this season. Interested to see how all of this plays out. Offensive line coach Thornton has a lot to work with right now. Still some stuff that needs to happen to solidify a couple of spaces, really the guard position and the center. Not a lot of starting snaps or any snaps, period, from those two. But Gunnar Stockton here, and let's talk about it. If you guys follow me on Twitter, then you know that I already have put out a little bit of film on him. I went and did some film study on the young man, and he looked good. Most of it, well, all of the film that I went and watched, of course, was from Western Kentucky playing us. So we had a common game, right, where Western Kentucky actually played Auburn, and I was able to take a look at that film, and there were some things that I liked about the film. There were some things I didn't like about it. I put out the things that I did like out there on Twitter. We'll probably do a more exhaustive watch the film on him from the entirety of that game, because I do have all of the offensive snaps that Western Kentucky had from that game. So maybe we'll do that sometime next week. If you guys aren't following along and aren't members on the channel, then you don't know that what I have been doing is kind of a midday watch the film, sometime in the afternoon watch the film session, where we're breaking down some film live. So I might do that with the Western Kentucky game from last year so that we can look at him. We are in the midst of looking at Tulsa film right now. So I have been doing some stuff on Dylan Wade. So I do have tape on two of the potential offensive tackle folks that are coming in to next season, Dylan Wade and now Gunnar Britton available. So we'll definitely take a look at all of that stuff, and some great stuff to be seen on both of those young men. So let's talk a little bit more about Gunnar Britton, though. So let me pull up what I have on him. Transfer in from, of course, Western Kentucky. Had a lot of snaps last season. He played the vast majority of the snaps for the team. So he's going to be a guy that you're going to be able to get in immediately and know the offense. So similar. So Western Kentucky runs a spread type of. You guys watched the game, of course. You watched the game with us in Western Kentucky. They have a very up tempo and spread offense, so that's not going to be a new thing for him. He looks like he can move really well in space, so he was asked to pull and get out on screens, and he did those things really well. He didn't seem to have like that nasty finishing pancake stuff that you want to see, but he's a good solid blocker in both the pass and run game. A little handsy at times. I think when he knows that he's overpowered by a guy, he does just tend to grab as opposed to getting solid inside position and controlling. But he's a big kid. I was trying to pull up his actual size here. Let me change what I've got over here and get to his actual size. Western Kentucky had him listed um, at 6'6", 305, right? So he's a big kid. Again, can motor, can move a little bit. This would be it was his redshirt junior year, excuse me, last year for Western Kentucky. Just looking at some stuff that we have here. He had let's see, 51 total games played at Western Kentucky. Um, did a good job for them, man. He was highly rated out of the portal. He was one of the more highly rated tackles in the portal, so it's good. 72.7 overall offensive grade, 83.9 in pass blocking according to PFF. So again, the young man comes in with some good experience and solid for him to be able to get out here and contribute immediately for Auburn. So I'm looking forward to seeing what we're able to do with this new and revamped offensive line. If you guys are coming in and you don't know, you are listening to the Morning Drop with your man Ike Jones right here on the War Report, sponsored by Rogue Shop. Head over to rogueshop.com and use code RAPPORT to get 10% off your purchase. Rogue Shop, again, America's #1 online dispensary. If you're trying to comment on this right now and you can't comment, it's because you are not a member of the War Report. We do restrict the morning drops to War Report members. We appreciate everybody. If you are in here, man, do your boy a big favor and go ahead and share this video so we can get more people involved in the War Report community and the conversations that we're having over here. I love getting a chance to talk with you guys every time we do this. Like the video, go ahead and give us a thumbs up on the video. And subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And of course, be a member of the War Report because we have a lot of great membership content that we've got coming up for you all. And I do want to be able to take a look at film with you guys and get reactions from you of what we're seeing out there. A lot of great things happening on the plains. A lot of good prospects that will likely be in town visiting this coming weekend as well. We'll talk more about that probably on the weekend tailgate on Sunday with some of the guys that have come to town once it's confirmed that they actually made the visits. But there are some guys that we're anticipating coming to town from a lot of different position groups. There are, I know, rumored again, I don't like throwing names out there because I don't know who wants that information out, but there's rumored to be a quarterback prospect or two that are going to be in town. One of them may have been in town already. Another one's supposed to be in town this weekend. A wide receiver prospect out of the transfer portal. I think there's a linebacker that's supposed to be coming. A couple other defensive positions. I think a cornerback. So there's some guys that are supposed to be here this weekend. So we could see some more movement from the transfer portal, and we will definitely let you guys know what we heard from visits that have happened when we get in here on Sunday and talk about it. So definitely appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with us. We're not trying to be a breaking news channel. We just want to talk about the stuff that's happened. So looking forward to seeing some more activity coming soon. Hugh Freeze and his staff are being true to their word about understanding that you got to win in the trenches here in this conference. So they are trying to revamp what we have going along the defensive and offensive fronts. The offensive line prospects have seemed to be really beneficial thus far in what we're doing. So we want to continue in that progress. But we are going to jump in here to the comment section and get some comments from you all. Again, you're listening to the Morning Drop or watching the Morning Drop, whether you're listening or, later or watching or whatever it is, man. Morning Drop right here on the War Report. All right, so let's see what we've got here. Shaq McDaniel gets us jumped off with a super chat. And he says, Ike, you the GOAT. Appreciate all your hard work and the rest of the War Report family, War Report guys. Appreciate you very much for jumping in here with us, Shaq. I'm just trying to work hard to do what I said I was going to do and provide you guys with quality content, man. There is a lot of quality content continuing to drop from the War Report. And I promise you, we're not going to let up even during the off season. So looking forward to doing more. James Barnett says, Ike, I appreciate you, bro, keeping us engaged. Thoughts on where this O-line can be as it relates to rankings in the SEC? James, great question. Difficult question to answer as far as rankings in the SEC. I've yet to see them play together, right? From a talent perspective, we're going to be better than we were last year. I think that's clear. We have a lot of work to do, though, right? Cohesion along the offensive line is important. What I liked about what I saw, if you guys were in here watching me talk about Dylan Wade yesterday when I was doing the live, and we'll do second part of that Tulsa stuff this evening or midday sometime. What I liked about him was his ability to communicate, right? So I liked that he was out there and able to talk to the guard that was immediately to his right and tell him the things that he saw. What I like about Gunnar Britton is his ability to, he didn't necessarily verbally show it on, pointing things out, but I liked his ability to handle stunts and blitzes, right? So he would pick up his assignment to the inside and he could hop to the outside when he saw that the stunt was happening in front of him. So just a good awareness of what he was supposed to be doing in his blocking scheme that immediately upgrades you in your ability to do some things. Where I don't know is, I watched, of course, Britton play against Auburn, but we didn't have like a premier pass rusher. He was dealing with Derek Hall. Derek Hall got the best of him quite a few times in that scenario. So, what is he going to do when he has to deal with a guy who's more speed? Derek Hall is more speed to power, right? So he's going to come and he's going to get into your shoulder pad and then he's going to drive you. Britton did struggle with him a couple of times with that. I don't know what he's going to do with a guy who dips around the outside. I haven't looked at enough of his tape on that. Dylan Wade did seem to struggle with a little speed around the edge. You're going to deal with a lot of speed in this league. So where we rank in terms of the league, that's hard for me to say without having evaluated the other teams of the league as well. I do know that we're going to be better compared to Auburn last year, though. It's going to be interesting to see because the JUCO guy, right? Miller was a tackle as well, right? Is he going to kick inside and play guard, right? So you immediately then would have um, Wade, Britton, Miller, and Jeremiah Wright as four potential starters, all having starting experience, all played against Power Five competition, though Tulsa only in a couple of games, and as well as Western Kentucky only in a couple of games, but still have had opportunities to play against Power Five teams, all playing in, other than Jeremiah Wright, all playing in systems that they would be accustomed to. There are some similarities between what Wright would be doing and what he's going to be doing next year. But the center position then is the only place where you just don't really have any starting experience. So it's going to be interesting to see how we plan out in that. Anyway, but appreciate it for the question there, James. Let's go some more here to the comment section. And Auburn Dad says at the moment it's looking like Britt Wright, Lou, Miller, Wade as a starting five. If we don't get any more, it's just what I was saying. So, yep, I'm with you right there. Michael Carlisle says under the radar, AU hired Jacksonville State's linebacker coach John Linham as linebacker analyst yesterday. Seems like a solid addition. Background at UCF, Florida, Temple, great recruiter in South Florida. It seems as if, thank you for the comment there, Michael. It seems as if there is a concentration from this Hugh Freeze staff to want to go and get talent from Florida and Texas. If you look at what we're doing with our hires, Florida and Texas, outside of Alabama, right? So home turf, of course, is something that we want to protect. But states that we're going into, Florida and Texas, seems to be the ones that they want to really try to get guys and go find them. Georgia and Alabama have always been great for Auburn athletics in general. But for the football team specifically, we've gotten some great talent out of those places. And I think we already have recruiters that do well in those states, but it's clear that they've tried to expand the footprint of guys who have some solid recruiting ties into those other states. When you look at Wesley McGriff, when you look at Ron Roberts, when you look at Marcus Harris, I'm not Marcus Harris. What's the line run? I don't know why my brain does this. Y'all knew who I'm talking. Marcus Davis. Thank you. I don't know who popped that into my brain from the chat, but Marcus Davis. When you look at just all the additions that we have, Texas, South Florida are places that we're able to go and get into really well. Chris Sanders jumps in and says, "Leota comes back. I'm bragging about winning 10 games next year." Listen, he accepted his Senior Bowl invite, so I don't know how likely it is that he actually does come back, but he does have another year of eligibility. So we'll see how that happens there. Let's see here. More of comments here. Joe Kelsey says Auburn historically strong on defense. Looking forward to getting some stud linebackers. I agree with you there. The linebacker room is one that I am, when we talk about positions of need right now, we've got some solid starters along the defensive line coming back, but I feel like we still need some more defensive line, more edge rushers for depth and ability to get in and make some instant impact. I was hoping we were able to do that. But defensive line is one of those places where you can get freshmen to come in and contribute because you can be rotational. So, maybe in National Signing Day, we'll see some more guys that can come in and contribute from that edge position. And we do have some solid ones along the defensive front that we've picked up. But yeah, Eku Leota is a stud, and I'd love to see him come back. But again, that's not anything that I've heard specifically as to whether or not he's actually going to return. Steve Valentine asked, "What are we ranked in recruiting right now?" Recruiting wouldn't have changed. I think we were somewhere around 18 or 19 um, at the end of early signing day, and there haven't been any new signings that have happened since then, so that wouldn't have changed. The transfer portal rankings that happen relative recruiting, that's really only reported. I think On3 might be the only site that actually does something with transfer portal rankings, so I don't know where that sits. That would be something that you might want to go check out over there. Um, so let's see. SS Austin says Freeze has him excited about Auburn football again. Listen, my excitement for Auburn football never waned, but if yours did, then I can understand that. But listen, man, I'm still in the same place I've always been. I'm always excited for a new season to come up and see what the prospects of us for getting better, regardless of what the previous season was, because I believe in our ability as a program to continue to improve. So I'm excited about where we are right now and looking forward to see what we are able to put together. The spring is going to be interesting for me though, because I'm going to be looking forward to seeing what these competitions look like. We're usually laser focused on stuff like quarterback competitions. I'm going to be focused on competition at a lot of spots coming up this spring. And it's going to be interesting too to see how some of these transfers and some of the things that we've done from a staff perspective impact what we have as far as attrition in the transfer portal. We haven't had a lot of guys leave right now because I think that guys understand that we have the capability of newness out here with this system. Everybody gets a fresh start, a fresh chance. It's as if you hit the transfer portal with a new coaching staff coming in. Because you're going to be in a new situation, but they are going to be looking to see where they sit on these depth charts and how they're going to be fitting into the systems that they're going to be putting in place. So that post spring transfer portal is going to be interesting for Auburn to see because we haven't had a lot of guys transfer out, but it will be it's going to happen. Some people are going to leave after the spring, and so it's going to be interesting to see who those guys are and who has the leg up as far as the competition is concerned. Um, let's see here. Damien asked, "Am I doing a pregame show for the Arkansas game tomorrow?" I plan to be at the Arkansas game tomorrow, so I will not be on the pregame. I haven't talked to the other guys to determine whether or not they anticipate doing any sort of pregame activity. We should be, but I don't know what their availability is. Everybody doesn't have the same availability that I do to do the pregame stuff. So I would love to, but I should be at that game. So. Let's see here. What else do we have here? You guys, great jumping in here. Once again, if you want to be able to comment, you got to do the green name situation. We're still hovering around 9,600 subs, man. We got to try to get to that 10K, man. You guys help us by putting your people on. Um, so hopefully we can get over to that 10,000 sub mark sometime soon. Michael Suriano jumps in, Scusiano, excuse me, jumps in and says, "I'm pumped for our defense as this DC is my favorite." Okay, Ron Roberts, you're a big fan of him. So good to see that. I have yet to do any defensive film, so next week I'll be focusing more on defense. So I do have some tape from Ron Roberts. So if you're a member of the War Report channel, just be on the lookout for those coming. I'll be doing the lives for those, and we can just look at the film together for a couple of days. Look at a couple of games. I got a couple of Baylor film games from Baylor film that we can take a look at. So be on the lookout for that one, Michael. And I'll have that ready for you guys sometime next week. Um, Brian Hancher says, "If A&M lost 27 guys, do we need to hire a coach that can recruit Texas A&M?" This is funny. Yeah, man, I think that Texas A&M has a lot of good recruits that are out there. And specifically recruiting that team is funny. I think there's some other teams that'll be in that Texas A&M situation. I think what's important is as a recruiter that you just maintain your relationships because of the way the transfer portal works. A guy might circle back around to you. And that's another important thing for fans when a kid who was hot on Auburn commits somewhere else. Continue to watch and support that guy because you never know, he could circle his way back around. So hopefully we'll be in a position where we can pick up some guys that maybe we didn't get the first time around. Matt Reeves asks, "Ike, do you prefer a right-handed QB or left-handed, or does it matter?" I don't have a preference as to right-handed or left-handed from the quarterback position. I think that really what I focus on when I look at the QB is just the intangibles of his ability to understand scheme and what's being asked of him. It does spin differently from left-handed and right-handed guys, so wide receivers may have a preference. It's really going to be about chemistry with them. But me personally, I don't have a preference between the two. So P Pass jumps in. He says new tackle appeared to hold serve versus Wooden and Hall. Sometimes they got him, sometimes he got them. Yeah, he did a decent job in the game against two premier defensive linemen in our league and from our team. He appeared to hold a lot in that game as well. Like I said, there was quite a bit of grasping going on out there from him. But if it doesn't get called, I'm not mad at it, right? So I probably was mad at it if I was watching it. I haven't gone back to look at me talking about the film and saying, "Ah, man, this guy looks like he's holding," and then now I go back and realize I'm talking about a guy who's going to be on our team. I haven't gone back to look at that at all. There is a watch the film that's out there from the Western Kentucky game, so maybe I'll go rewatch myself talking about that game and that footage. And I don't know if I pointed out any of that stuff, but I did go back and watch the Western Kentucky snaps, looking more at Western Kentucky's offensive line last night because I was looking for him on film. So I'm going to do more of that. So, all right, let's see. Michael says, I'm going to love the blitzes. Listen, I've already looked at the defensive film a little bit from him just to look at the scheme. And we'll talk more about this as we get into the defense, but he does do some exotic things. Well, not exotic's not the right word, but he does do some things that make it where your quarterback just can't anticipate what's going to be happening. And the scheme does it requires a lot. It does. It's a thing that's going to require a lot from your team to really understand what we're supposed to be doing and the things that we want to force. So there's gonna be some teaching moments that are gonna happen with this defense early. So I want to caution fans about that when they're looking at it, but I am looking forward to it. Um, he said, let's do a review of you reviewing. That would be interesting to see a review of me looking at the things that I've said and be like, yo, I called this completely wrong. I don't know what I was talking about on this play. I would definitely like to see that. That'd be interesting. At some Inception level review stuff, or review of my review. But yeah. Todd Jordan, good to see you in here. I know Broken Ugly is a factor, but does this kind of solidify that Freeze was a better hire than Kiffin? Listen, a lot to be determined on that. I think that Freeze was a better hire right now for Auburn for sure. But listen, he who laughs last laughs best, as the saying goes. And the last laugh comes when we play Ole Miss this season and we are able to come and consistently see that we can beat Ole Miss on the recruiting trail and then go and beat them on the field. So hey, we gotta laugh best in this scenario. Laughing first is cool, right? And we're getting a lot of early chuckles in. But again, he who laughs last laughs best. And so I want to get the last laugh on the playing field this fall. And so we'll see what we're able to do with that. Chris Sanders jumps back in and says Hugh is doing what he needs to do to build this thing in short term and long term. Love to see it. Still a ways to go. Absolutely. So here's the thing, man. He realizes that we've got to be able to effectively get out here and play immediately, right? So we're going to go attack the transfer portal aggressively. And we need to have a stable of people who we can rely on in the future. So we are going to recruit young guys in these positions as well. So I like specifically looking at what he's done from the offensive line standpoint. He didn't just say we're going to go get a bunch of portal guys and use those to fill the coffers. He's got some young guys as well that he's recruiting out of high school that we can develop through the program. So it's going to be interesting to see in year 2 and year 3 whether or not we're still going to need to go get guys in the portal. And it's also going to be interesting to see the evaluation process. And this is where I talk about the competition in spring specifically and how the transfer portal may be affected, whether or not guys who came in to the Auburn program 2 years ago who've never seen the field don't feel as if they have a home at Auburn anymore. And we see some attrition because right now we've got a lot of depth that we're building, but we could lose some of that depth if some of those guys are like, hey, I don't have a shot to play here, and I know I'm talented, and maybe this system doesn't fit me. Let me go try my hand at another program somewhere. We could lose some depth along the offensive line if that's the case. So I don't know how patient some of those young men are with the process of trying to figure it out, or whether or not they feel like they have some high prospects somewhere else. So that is going to be an interesting thing for me to take a look at, or for all of us to take a look at as we get into the spring transfer portal season. Let's see. Yes, definitely. Credit to Zach Reed Thornton. This is from Chris Sanders and everyone else recruiting. I know it isn't just the head coach. Absolutely, this is a group effort. Specifically, the guys who were able to hold this class together through all the turmoil. Again, we've talked about this before, but a huge props to Coach Caddy for the strong finish to the season, and helping people who are out there, whether they're transfers or high school recruits, see the kind of Auburn environment that we've been used to, and feeling that permeate amongst the fan base, and re-energizing the Auburn community, and then transferring that over into Coach Hugh Freeze and the new energy that the system of potential new offense and vigor that we're going to bring to that has brought to people who want to come in. And then the defensive staff, Coach Etheridge, for holding that together through the transition, and then the new energy that was brought in with the new hires that were there. So it's going to be interesting to see how we close the National Signing Day as well, now that some of the newness has worn off, right? Like, it's not the shiny new thing now. Now we've got to go out there and we've got to dig deep and see who are the diamonds in the rough that we can close and have a solid class coming out of that. I see my guy B Will out here in the comment section. I ain't gonna acknowledge none of that nonsense that he's talking about here in the comments, but appreciate him jumping in here. For the comment section to keep some engagement going. I'm about to get out of here, though. I appreciate you guys for coming in here with the Morning Drop. Once again, Morning Drop is sponsored by Rogue Shop. Head over to rogueshop.com using code REPORT for 10% off your purchase. Become a member of the War Report so we can continue to have these chats with you all. I don't know if all of 153 of you guys are members, but if you're not, please become a member of the War Report. $3.99 per month goes a long way to helping us get to our financial goals, so we can continue to afford to even be here and do these in the mornings, so I can, not have to go to work and things like that. That's it, man. I'm about to get out of here. Until the next time, and as always, War Eagle will be back later tomorrow to talk a little basketball. Peace.